Welcome to Quantum Touch Radio, supercharging your life with Jennifer Noel Taylor. Jennifer takes you on a quantum journey to discover how to supercharge your life working with universal healing quantum touch principles. Imagine knowing how to accelerate, revitalize, and engage in ways you've never experienced. In this hit show, we reveal powerful, simple steps to create more abundance, better health, emotional and mental vibrancy, and happier relationships. Imagine being simple and supercharged to cultivate life force energy for yourself and others. Get ready to be astounded. Now, here's your host.
Welcome. You're listening to Quantum Touch Radio, Supercharging Your Life. I'm your host, Jennifer Noel Taylor. And today we have on the show Dr. Judit Povall. She's amazing. If you haven't met her yet, highly recommend meeting her. I met her at our conference that we had, was that over a year ago, like almost 2 years ago in October. She gave a talk on evidence-based magic. She has a master's in mathematics and chemistry, and she teaches quantum touch with us and mindfulness as well. So welcome. Thanks for being on the show.
Well, thank you very much for having me.
Yeah, so I wanted to talk a lot about evidence-based magic because that was the topic of your talk. And I thought it was really interesting because, we tend to, rely on faith a lot. When we deal with energy sometimes, or at least I do. I don't really look for science very much. I just believe it works and it works. But I think a lot of people out there like a little bit of evidence and a lot of it, some physical proof of what energy healing can do. So I'd like you to describe a little bit more of what you mean by evidence-based magic. I think that's a really intriguing name.
Yes, so with my scientific background, the chemistry and the maths and the PhD in chemistry, I basically just wanted to find a method, a way that is completely evidence-based. So I don't need to believe in anything, because I felt that if I need something to believe in, it could be anything. It doesn't matter what I find. Just needed something that actually leads me back to experience, leads me back into running experiments and seeing the results, and ultimately that way leading back to myself. So I don't need anyone or anything else, no belief systems required. It's just simply me, and I can do something with my own power, and I can see the results, and the result is unquestionable. So I was looking for a few years, and I thought I was getting closer, but I could not find a method that could provide me with this kind of solution that there's no masters, there's no mysterious ways, there's no attunement, there's nothing. It's just you, and it's all yours because you were born with it. So in 2007, I got an email. I live in the UK, from a woman who taught me Reiki, that there's this new method called quantum touch. No one really knows about it. No one actually teaches it officially, but we got this videotape. So if we want to come around and just try it, it's really, really simple. It doesn't require anything, just yourself. So come along and we'll see what happens. So I went along. We sat in a living room, and Richard taught this video course. We paused the video when we had to practice, and we went along with it. And I thought afterwards that I either A, went completely crazy and I completely lost it, or B, I finally found what I was looking for, because everything was so simple and everything worked so well and it was all measurable. And I remember coming home feeling kind of confused, like when you were looking for something and if you finally find it and then you don't want to believe it. So after that, I started to run kind of loads of experiments on people who love me enough to allow me to try this on them. And what I could see, it was working. I always started the sessions with a clear mind, saying that, you know, just allow me to experience whatever can happen. Really trying to cut my mind and all my concerns off. And what I found, that it was unquestionable results and measurable results. And I didn't work with anyone who believed in energy healing. Actually, everybody thought that I was a little bit, you know, crazy. So I didn't have any problem with, you know, people actually giving me proper feedback, because none of them believed any of it. So I got the results, and it was just something, a new world coming to life in front of me. So from my scientific point of view, I was willing to leave the belief system of, you know, energy healing is not real and there's only materialistic things and this is what science means and this is it, and basically just run a lot of experience and expecting the result, even if I couldn't, and still to the day I can't obviously properly explain what exactly happens, but I know it's real. I know it's real.
So you brought up some interesting points. The first one is this idea of gurus. Okay, I get annoyed by gurus because the reason I get annoyed by gurus is because I believe that the answers are within us. And I'm trying to get to that place where that's the message I want to get across to our community, that you don't need somebody outside of yourself to tell you what's true. Like it's really within. And tell me what you think. Do you have, you said, you know, you don't like gurus. Can you explain that a little more?
I think that sometimes you need guidance from people who could help you on the journey. But ultimately, the biggest present anybody can give you is your own freedom and your own, you know, discovering your own master within yourself. So whenever I run a course, I always feel very humble, and I always feel that people who come to the course are going to leave with this feeling of ultimate freedom and the fact that they full of magic and it's all within. And I think that's great. That's giving me the greatest pleasure, you know, running my courses, because people who come, they live as a completely different human being by knowing, not just experiencing, not just thinking, not just believing, but knowing that everything is within. So you know, the courses are amazing, as you know, and I always ask before we start that what kind of expectations people coming with, and they all, you know, tell me about, you know, self-healing, trying to help other people, trying to help the world, and I always tell them that, look, you are going to leave with this knowledge of everything is you, and you are capable of anything that you want, and everything is possible. So after that, they always call it, you know, the timeline changes, because they say that there is life before quantum touch courses and there's life after quantum touch courses, and the transformation I can see within them, they change basically in such a short period of time. Everyone leaves, and creativity kicks in, and they quit their jobs, and they change, and they follow their hearts, and they follow their relationship, inner guidance, and they start blooming, and they look younger, and they look more energetic, and they heal, and they help each other, and they help other people. So it's such a transformational experience, a quantum touch course.
Yeah, I know, following your guidance, or following the energy, or following what I call the universal flow. When I've actually done it, it's really amazing. And I think what energy does is it helps people tap into that. I know that's how I got started with quantum touch. I followed inner guidance that was telling me it's your next step. You gotta go get involved with quantum touch. And I had a normal job back then. And I sort of felt like a leap of faith. But I think that's amazing when we help people tap into that inner wisdom and the energy. And another thing I wanted to talk about, the guru idea. We're going to go on a break in 3 minutes, but I just wanted to bring this up. The idea when you're doing healing work, and I used to fall into the trap of trying to use healing work to like prove my self-worth, feeling attached to the outcome, like I'm a good healer because that person got better. So look at me, like I did a good job there. I was kind of, my ego was attached to outcome. And so that, using your clients to prove worth, versus I really think we're making that shift from providing value. So instead of trying to prove our worth with clients or our career or our money or any of that, focusing on more of providing value to people, and that allows us naturally not to be attached to the outcome, which is, I believe, very important. Do you have it's like 2 minutes till we take a break. Do you have anything, comments or advice about attachment to outcome?
Yes, this is such a great point that you're making, Jennifer. I would like to call quantum touch as playing, rather than taking it as a job, giving importance to it. I would just say that, and this is my advice, just play with it, just allow things to happen. Just don't take it too seriously. It's not on you what's happening and not happening. And you know that because you learn that. So there's no point proving anything. There's no point justifying who you are, because you already an unbelievable, human being that's allowing energy, going through their physical body. Therefore, the other people can heal. So there's nothing we don't need you in the process. Need you in the process. You may need your energy being in the process, but we don't need your expectations and self-justifications. Nothing. So you just rather enjoy the process and just sit back and play and allow whatever could happen. So don't take it as a job.
Yes, I think that's a great message for our listeners. And we're going to now go on a short break, and we'll be back. Welcome back, everyone. You're listening to Quantum Touch Radio. I'm your host, Jennifer Noel Taylor. And our guest today is Dr. Judit Povall. She's a quantum touch instructor, and she gave a talk at our last conference called Evidence-Based Magic, and we're going to delve into that a little more. I also, if you want to call in with questions, our number is 1-800-930-2819. Again, 1-800-930-2819. And we have a question from a listener in San Francisco. And he said, I have tried using quantum touch healing, but it doesn't seem to work for me. What can I do? And take it away.
I would say that I've been teaching quantum touch since 2012, and it works for everyone. If you are if you make sure that you're following these very simple steps we call the method, but actually it is not a method, in a way that there are no rules. It's very intuitive, which I really love. Then it is working for you. uh, Try simple things that doesn't put pressure on you. Try something that's measurable, for example the hip alignment, or anything to do with the spine, because that always works every single time. Let go of your expectations of the outcome. Just basically just trust the steps, trust the method, and just do it, and keep on measuring the results, and you will see that the results are there. It's all that thing always works. So if somebody struggling to allowing themselves to be able to experience how this works, I would say just go simple, go something measurable, um, and just play. Don't take it too seriously. Even if your mind kicks in the beginning, thinking that, oh my God, it's not going to work. Oh my God, I'm crazy. Trust me, I started my quantum touch uh, sessions every single time for years and years and years like this, always with the concerns, thinking, I don't know what I'm doing here. But then, just breathe and sweep and let everything go from your mind. But basically, what can you lose? There's nothing that you can lose, because there's no stake or anything like that. So just realize that that's only a thought. You thinking that it is going to work, or you thinking that it's not going to work. In reality, it doesn't really matter what you think. It only matters what is going to happen, which is not up to you, but up to the energy, and the energy always does its work. I think it's also very useful if you imagine yourself um, not being a key player in this process. For example, imagine yourself being like the sun. You just radiate, you just radiate ray and lights and warmth, and you don't think about what you should be doing and what you shouldn't be doing. You just yourself, you are just spreading energy everywhere, using your hands or using your heart, depending on which method are you using. But ultimately the sun doesn't do anything. It's just basically being itself, and the seeds are come to life under the earth, and the flowers come out, and life grows. But it's not because the sun wants to grow anything. The sun is just itself just living its own being. So that these kind of things might help you to take the pressure off you, and just don't worry about what's in your mind. And ultimately, if you're really afraid of probably failing, as you can um, uh, as you can project, that I would say that what can the other person lose? Seriously, if there's nothing happens, which in my quantum touch career is nothing ever happen, like nothing happens. So it's something always happens, even in spiritual level or physical level. I've never seen anybody who's not being changed by quantum touch. But you stay with the person for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, in a very nice state of very loving, very, very beautiful energy, and you hold a body part that's possibly in pain, or just hold the other person's heart chakra, or hold their heads. I mean, it's a wonderful thing just to be there for the other person anyway. So you can't lose anything. Nobody ever complained that, oh, why did you stay with me in this beautiful present moment for 10 minutes and nothing happened? People feel grateful about this. They will appreciate. So don't be afraid of you failing. You can't fail. Just stay with the other person. Just radiate the energy, and everything will be fine.
Yeah, I wanted to add to that. That's a really good, thank you for that. Um, the sometimes people email us and say, I've had chronic pain for 15 years, or I've had this condition for a long time. And I've been doing energy healing on it for hours or days or weeks, and I'm not seeing any results. Like there's a certain set of results that they're hoping for. And my response is this: when something isn't manifesting, whether it's physical health or money or whatever it is you're trying to manifest and it's not manifesting, in my book, there's usually something in the way. And the hard part is figuring out what that is. I've struggled with that sometimes when something's not quite manifesting that I want, or feel like it's in the highest good, or whatever. I look like what's in the way, and it's usually it's two things I found that's in the way: anger and resentment, lack of forgiveness. It's usually we're holding on to these types of feelings, and we're not willing or incapable or not able or wanting to let them go, usually from past wrongs or perceived past wrongs. So that's something to really look at. I recommend to get to the bottom of that using Self-Created Health, or even Michael Singer's work, The Untethered Soul, or an emotional process work, because it's figuring out what's in the way. And so sometimes also the other thing that I've seen is the universe is asking for a lifestyle change or a move or something that we need to change, and we don't really want to do it. And I've done that many times. So I just think there's like, if you listen and ask the universe, like what's in the way, you'll get a response. And being open to those responses. And that's what I found. Have you noticed that too? Things are in the way of your healing?
Yes, sometimes I've got expectations of what should happen, and what I be manifesting, and I'm pretty good at manifesting things quite quick, but sometimes it doesn't happen. And what I realize is there is a reason why it didn't happen, and later on I'm grateful about that manifestation is not happening, because I see later on that actually I thought that I needed that experience or something else, or even financial thing, but I actually didn't need that. So when you can look back and you feel grateful about what you're not having, because the universe is protecting you, that's a great way. And sometimes I need to remind myself of all the things that's happening to me, because sometimes I can be very focused on one single manifestation or problem, and then there's a whole list of things that's going really well in my life, and I just forget about them because I'm so focused on that one. So I need to write a list and make a mental list of, oh, okay, maybe this is not manifesting yet, but all these things, happening and improving and flowing. So I would say that, whoever wants to work with quantum touch, just make a whole list about everything in your life that you think that it needs improving, or you could improve that, health-wise or financial-wise, any relationship-wise, and keep an eye on the list, because there might be, you might be focusing on the very last thing is going to happen, after you processed your emotions and everything, but everything else is going so well and so amazing, and you kind of forget that, yeah, of course, it's brilliant, it's all changing, it must be just normal, but there is this single thing that doesn't seem to be shifting, but it will, maybe after everything else shifted into its place.
Yeah, it's really amazing. The 30 things are going right and one thing's going not as we'd like. How it's easy to focus on that one thing that's not quite how we'd like it. The last show, last week, we had Shelly on the show, and she talked about her life really changed when she started tapping into gratitude on a constant basis. And sometimes it's hard to remember to do that, but I think that's a really good point, that having that gratitude for all the stuff that is working. Our listener said, thank you for the encouragement. So great. Well, I hope that helps. Did you have any, we're going to go on a break in 1 minute. Did you have anything else to add?
No, not really. Just do it. I would just say that's my all advice. Just keep on doing it and keep on trying to help yourself and other people. And it works every single time. It works.
Yes, I believe that with the energy, there's always some result. It just may not be exactly what we were hoping for. And if and if people are having trouble believing in energy, I feel like one of the things that tends to respond really well to energy are flowers or plants. Like if you get some flowers and run energy into them, you'll notice that they last longer. Or working with the energy on your garden, you definitely see that the energy has almost instantaneous results on whatever you're trying to grow. It's pretty amazing. I know I was doing gardening and I had kale. I ran energy into it every day, and the kale like grew up super monster kale, like huge, like just massive kale. It was pretty amazing. So it was like these huge, it was huge. Anyways, we're going to go on our next break, then we'll be back and we'll talk more about evidence-based magic. So thank you, everyone, and we'll be back. Welcome back, everyone. You're listening to Quantum Touch Radio, Supercharging Your Life. I'm your host, Jennifer Noel Taylor. Today on the show, we have Dr. Judit Povall, and we've been talking about evidence-based magic. And before we continue, I would love to answer your questions. You can call us at 1-800-930-2819. Again, 1-800-930-2819. You can please call in with questions if you have questions. And to continue our discussion on evidence-based magic, I wanted to ask Judit to share some of the evidence of the magic, some of the results that you have seen or some of the things that you have seen with the energy.
Okay. Well, there's a lot to choose from. I would like to believe that I could see enough to be able to say that anything is possible. I've seen magical healings on courses, which is always amazing because, you know, people turn up with no knowledge about quantum touch. They're just looking for ways to help themselves and help the others. So the proof of that it's instantly working within you is there when healing happens on courses. Because, you know, you usually get in a course and you think that, oh, this is great, you know, I need to remember all of these things, need to study in deep details, need to remember all the details and practice awful lot, then I become really good at some point, which is also, you know, just a mind game of basically postponing everything that's instantly with you. So on the courses, when, you know, people turn up with different issues, different problems, depending on sometimes they're quite serious, sometimes they're chronic illness, sometimes emotional problems. And they can see that within those 2 days, when they just practice on each other, and healing just happens straight there and then. When the first session happens, you know, the first 10 minutes when they ever applied quantum touch on another person, and their spine would align and their hunch would go, and everything goes back to place. And they say that it's kind of like pixels kind of restructuring, the whole body is restructuring. So this is something that that truly amazes me every single time. So for example, on courses I had people with leukemia who healed after the session. I had a gentleman who came to a course, and the week before he got the diagnosis of having leukemia, came to the course, and then we did we did it 2 days, we did group sessions on him and everything else. Then 2 weeks later, he was all clear. And people said that, oh, we don't know what happened because we don't seem to find anything. And they still find that was years and years ago. And somebody with a carpal tunnel problem who was waiting for an operation, on the course, it disappeared. Some kind of lumps, breast cancer, and a lot of emotional healing, which I think I need to emphasize this how important that is, to be able to, as you said before, Jennifer, that process our emotional state and in the emotional baggage. And the hands-on healing is really good and the physical problems are disappearing, but all the emotional relief and this kind of emotional freedom that comes with the healing there and then, it's something really, really magical. I've seen I've seen really bad epileptic cases improving within days. I've seen schizophrenia um, um, healed to the way of not being able to need medication anymore, completely symptom free. And it was a very serious case. Now I need to tell you that none of these cases, the person who was suffering knew that I or the group or somebody else was helping them, because the relative, the mother and the grandmother, asked for help. So that is something truly amazing, that somebody who does not know that getting help is evidently gets so much better and gets their life back, and the whole family gets their life back. And then funnily, both person mentioned to the relatives that they believe that somebody is helping them. So somehow the information got there, and the knowledge is there, the feeling is there that they get support. What else I would need to mention? The Whoever comes to courses, I always encourage them just to start using it straight away. Don't wait for anything. Just go out there and just try. You cannot lose anything. So it's great when people come back saying that I went home after my course. I had this friend who suffered a really long and very serious deadly illness. And I thought, I can just try to do some distant healing. What can we lose? And the friend got healed from this 7-year deadly disease over a few sessions of just distant healing. And sometimes we very much wanting to know as human beings, obviously, what happened and how things happened, and how is this possible, and go into the details. But what I can see, it doesn't really matter the outcome that matters. It doesn't matter if the doctor will say that, oh, you've been misdiagnosed for 7 years with a deadly disease and now it's not there, so we must have been wrong. It just be happy with it, just go with the flow, just focus on the fact that the other person is really well now. And we probably will never be able to explain with our human mind, because that's something beyond that. So here are the evidence is ultimately that the person who was unwell, now it's well. Lots of times we could prove the improvement with scans and X-rays and blood tests, and that's a good thing. That's a good thing, because it makes it more believable for us. But ultimately, doesn't really matter. That all that matters is that the health is back, the vibration of the well-being is back. And as far as I can experience, I don't know about you, Jennifer, but it stays. So whatever I can experience with quantum touch, or whoever I teach with quantum touch, it seems to be that the results are long-term. And yes, sometimes, we need to repeat sessions, and sometimes, we need to see people more occasions, but the result, the change is for good,
Mhm. Yeah, I feel like with quantum touch, we get to the root cause of whatever's going on. And so that's why the results are permanent, because I think once you figure out what the problem is and you solve the cause of the problem, then the results, like if you're covering up symptoms, like for example, if I'm tired and I drink 5 cups of coffee, I'm covering up a symptom of there's something wrong with my lifestyle that I'm so tired, right? So instead of covering up the symptoms, I'm going to fix, hopefully fix my lifestyle, for example. And the same thing with pain or even leukemia or cancer, or all these things. I think the energy gets to that root cause of what's wrong and solves it on a deep level, on a deep spiritual level. And then the result is that they don't have the issue anymore. And that's why I think the results are typically long-term, is we're working with the energy people are projecting. So yeah, that's what I've noticed every time I've done a session. It has been like, once we understand, like we get to the root cause of the problem, it has been long-term results. I know I worked on a guy once who had sciatica, long-term issue with sciatica, like this pain shooting down his leg. And I did like 45-minute session on him and it went away. And then he decided to go on a paddleboard ride right after the session, and it came back a little bit, but then he thought about the session. So now he kind of remembered the frequency of being well and it went away again. So almost like your body it learns a new frequency and then it holds that new frequency in place. So that's what I've noticed.
Yes, yes, totally. And what I also realized that it's only, serious things and chronic things in our mind, but in the energy world, none of these exist. So it's pointless to think about, oh my God, this must be very serious. It's not going to go away just after I don't know how many sessions. I'm doubting myself that, oh, will I be able to help? From energy point of view, that's only the vibration of well-being. It doesn't matter where we start. It's just basically just raise to the level of well-being, and it's all done. There's no big things and small things and serious things and chronic things. That I found that truly amazing and a proof of, basically, yes, everything can be transformed with quantum touch. Yeah.
I think that's a really good point. And we're going to go on a break in a minute. Not getting too wrapped up with the label of what it's called and the association and the beliefs around it. So if you have cancer, and you start to believe that it's a death sentence and that's the end of your life, and now life is horrible, and all those surrounding beliefs, I think that just makes it worse. But if you can hold it a little more lightly and be open to the energy, sometimes things like that resolve. And I think that's a really good point, a really good reframe for people. And we're going to go on another break. And then we come back, we'll continue to talk with Judit. So thank you, everyone, and we'll be back. Welcome back, everyone. You're listening to Quantum Touch Radio. I'm your host, Jennifer Noel Taylor. And today we have Dr. Judit Povall. We've been talking about evidence-based magic. Also, last chance, if you want to call in with a question, call us at 1-800-930-2819. Be happy to answer any questions that you have. And I wanted to mention, can you tell us about your upcoming workshops that you have coming up?
Yes, I'll run quite a lot of workshops in Hungary, in Budapest, which is I think upcoming in and at the end of August and September, October. Basically every month I run level 1 and level 2. So I'm so looking forward to that, and I'm so grateful about being able to run live courses. This current circumstances, I've always been able to find a way to run live courses, and I truly appreciate that. So yeah.
Great. Yeah. So for those of you who don't know, it's 2 a.m. where you're at right now, or was 2 a.m. when we started the show. So she stayed up very late for us. So thank you for that. The other yeah. The other topic I want to talk about is we were talking about. Okay, so we know life force energy can be used for physical healing, but you've discovered some interesting other uses for it. So I thought let's talk about some of the fun, interesting things that you've been working with.
So I always look for ways to prove that our focus changes our physical reality. So on my courses and any other courses, I always bring in some kind of fun stuff that would prove that just with your focus, because energy follows your focus, everything is changing around you straight away. So I've got these body mind games that, how your flexibility changes straight away when you're focusing on just, being more flexible. And as soon as your mind is stop being a hurdle, a limitation, that you can win this whole game. Because as soon as your mind starts to see that, oh my God, that I can't believe that I was just focusing on, being more flexible for like 2-3 minutes, and I am immeasurably more flexible without actually doing physically any exercise. There must be something going on. Or you can grow your fingers longer by just focusing on them. It's obviously just follow the quantum touch rules. You just breathe and sweep and focus and get your intention right. And when you can see your body is actually doing something just by thinking about it, then your limitations suddenly go out the window. So you rediscover this playful uh, being, this child within yourself, when you just sat down when you were young and you just play for the fun of playing. You didn't have any expectations of, oh my God, these games should be about this or that, or this should be the outcome. You just immerse yourself into this magical world of experiencing, experimenting, exploring, and just just playing. And so what I thought, because as I said, that I always look for more kind of playful ways to show that this is real. I mean, it's more real than we are. This is the energy world, is the real world. But bringing in the playfulness is very important for me. So I started to explore more ways of how I can see people, that what we do is not just a mind game, it's not belief, it's not just coincidence and whatever. It is stuff that happens. So I discovered that the same kind of quantum state allows you to bend spoons, to do telekinesis, to do remote viewing, to do astral travel. So I started now to teach people, how to bend spoons, just for for the fun stuff, just to um, have this kind of new experience in your hand. Because if you got a spoon that obviously cannot be bent by physical power, and then you kind of do lots of things with it, and it bends all around, it shapes in front of your eyes. That is something that you can keep as a reminder that, look, I thought this was impossible to do, and now I can see the result, and I can try to do this with just physical power, and it doesn't work. So I found these little games really helping the process of um, of this kind of staying in this playful state and allowing things to happen. As you said, that that sometimes it's hard to let go of the attachment, and we want to feel important, and we want to help, and we just too focused on what should happen. But none of these things, neither telekinesis or bending spoons, can happen unless you completely let go of every kind of attachment, ideas, how things should work, how the spoon should bend, how things should move around you. With telekinesis, you have to drop everything. So I think these kind of extra games are very good for practicing the let go and the allowing bit. And it's a great reminder that the energy world, the quantum field is real, and anything can happen. Because, when you do these things and you question yourself, but then you see that it was impossible to do, and you give your family the same spoon from the same set, and they say, look guys, you're really strong, you do this, and they kind of baffled of how you did that. There's no question anymore. And as your mind starting to approve this, that the world has got, the limited physical world, but there is an energy world that you can tune into, where all kind of magical stuff happens, that you basically win.
Yeah, I think you made an interesting point. That's sometimes hard to do, but if you can view life a little bit more lightheartedly, I guess that's an interesting adjective, but almost like you can make it a little bit of a game, so that it becomes a little less serious. Because I think when we're really serious, we just lock into one perspective and one reality, and this is the way it is, the way it's always going to be, and it's like super serious. And I think that's, if we can hold a little more lightly, it can shift a little bit more easily. So that's, I think, a good takeaway, a really good takeaway for people is, can you make it a little more lighthearted and game-like? Yeah, so really good reframe for people. And anyways, we're kind of wrapping up at the end of our show. This is Dr. Judit Povall. If you go to quantumtouch.com, I can't talk today. Okay, quantumtouch.com, and go to our schedule, you'll see her events. And or if you need more information about Quantum Touch, go to quantumtouch.com. And I'm your host, Jennifer Noel Taylor. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you all next week.
You've been listening to Quantum Touch Radio, supercharging your life with Jennifer Noel Taylor. Tune in on transformationtalkradio.com as you take a quantum journey and tap into universal healing quantum touch principles to create an amazing supercharged life. For more information about Quantum Touch, visit quantumtouch.com, and remember, accelerate, revitalize, and engage in your supercharged